Mayor Gray names the new police chief, water quality grants, and safety around snowplows. This and more up next on this week's edition of Lexington Now. I'm Neil Noah in for Sherelle Roberts, and this is Lexington Now. Mayor Gray has named his pick for police chief after the recent retirement of Chief Barnard. We were there for the announcement.
This is a man with universal respect. Everyone respects and admires Lawrence Weathers. He is a 27-year veteran of our police force and a former assistant chief. He worked his way up in the division through a lot of assignments, giving him a broad range of experience. This is an important day for all of us. Public safety is our top priority in the city, for our citizens, for all of us. Like many of you here today in elected and appointed roles, we all take public safety with the highest level of respect for tradition and commitment. Lawrence Weathers is a strong believer in community-oriented policing and in developing partnerships throughout the community. I believe those are important keys to improving public safety. Lawrence was born and raised in Lexington. He and his 9 brothers and sisters were raised on the East End and on the North End. He loves this city. All you have to do is talk to him for about 30 seconds and you discover that. And you know, that love is a great attribute for a police chief. He wants to give back to our city by sharing his knowledge and experience. And as he says, also to show a person can succeed. That's so important to our young people today. Lawrence is committed to investing in our young people. He has served on the board of Partners for Youth for 5 years now. Since 2016, he's worked in our schools where he has directed security, and that is just such a valuable experience. Of course, we need to be able to support our schools seamlessly when there's a problem, and Lawrence is well prepared to do just that. Lawrence's #1 focus will be making Lexington safer for all citizens by addressing problems before they become problems and working to continuously improve Lexington's quality of life. We will swear in Lawrence at a later date because he needs to work out his notice, Mr. Superintendent, at the Fayette County Schools. So we're very respectful of that. His official start date will be March the 5th. But that doesn't stop us today from saying, welcome back home, Lawrence Weathers. And now it is my honor, my privilege, to introduce Lawrence Weathers, our new Chief of Police.
Thank you, Mayor Gray and the City Council, the FOP, my family, my friends, and everyone here today. I'm very honored and humbled by all the support I've been shown. God is good. I'm blessed with a wonderful, beautiful wife, Melinda, and my wonderful children, Jordan, Ben, and Emery. Thank God for my beautiful mother, Betty. Thank God for my sisters, my brothers, and my entire family. They have always been there for me. I've had the unique opportunity to be part of two wonderful police families, the Lexington Police Department and the Fayette County Public Schools Department of Law Enforcement. Being a part of these two families has allowed me to develop friendships and partnerships within the departments and in the community. Many of the friends, partners, and neighbors who have advised me, guided me, and mentored me are here today. Thank you for being here with me. The relationships I have developed as a police officer have taught me that the greatest accomplishments can be achieved if we work together. As your chief, please know that I am dedicated to continuing to build a police department that focuses on issues concerning not only the community, but also our officers. I will openly address public safety concerns and strive to promote justice, fairness, integrity, and respect, both internally and externally. I am from Lexington. I was born and raised here. I'm a Windburn Warrior, a Bryan Station Defender, and a UK Wildcat. But most of all, I'm a citizen of Lexington. The Lexington Police Department is one of the finest in the country. The people who serve in the department are among the finest I've ever known. I always tell people the Lexington Police Department raised me. And for 27 years, it was my home. Well, I'm glad to be back home. Thank you.
Each year, Water Quality selects several projects to receive their stormwater grants. These projects must meet a specific set of criteria to be eligible. Chris Dent of Water Quality tells us what those requirements are and what the program is all about.
Our water quality management fee, 10% of that goes back into the Stormwater Incentive Grant Program. And that 10% then goes out to the ratepayers every year. So we get about $1.3 million a year from the revenues from the stormwater management fee that goes back into this grant program. The three things that we look for on each of the grants is whether it meets stormwater quality, stormwater quantity, or providing education about one of those two factors. We provide the applications online and we try to be as transparent as possible from the beginning. We provide score sheets, we provide a sample agreement along with other documentation so they can sort of see what the program would be like. They'll fill out the application form. That comes in, the Division of Water Quality staff reviews it, scores it per the score sheet that the fees board has put together. We provide, the staff at the Division of Water Quality provides it recommendations to our director. The director then decides and provides recommendations onto the Water Quality Fees Board. The Fees Board decides who ultimately receives the grants with the available funds that are there. After that, an agreement is worked out, signed, it goes through council's process in order to be able to provide funding from the government. To date, we've had over 100 grants in the neighborhood grants, the education, and the infrastructures. Some of the big infrastructure grants are the Clausen Group, which is a local landscaping company here in Lexington, received a grant and they've been able to provide permeable pavers for one of their parking lots, a bioretention basin with a water quality unit on it, and then also a rainwater harvesting tank that they're able to use some of the water that they collect off their roof and actually use it for part of their business. As well, they also did a little example of a green roof right at the entrance of their building. The Montessori Middle School out on Stone Road, they ended up getting a feasibility study, which then turned into a stream construction project. Now they've taken an urban stream which was eroding and causing downstream issues with sediment, and have gone in and put in a more naturalized stream within the city of Lexington, and it looks like something that you would see out in Daniel Boone National Forest as opposed to something you would typically see in Lexington. Our Class A neighborhood project, I'm going to talk to you about Friends of Wolf Run. They are consistently receiving grants. They work with a lot of the individual neighborhoods within the Wolf Run watershed, doing stream restorations, invasive species removals, plantings, And the great thing about the Friends of Wolf Run is they get a lot of volunteers to come out and help with the projects themselves. A couple of the education grants that we've had, Living Arts and Science Center has done a consistent job of applying and receiving grants, and they do a lot of stuff on the north end of town where they're able to provide stormwater education to the kids and the community members up there. This year, the Water Quality Fees Board awarded 19 different grants, 7 neighborhood grants, 5 education, and 7 infrastructure grants. Not all of them were fully funded for what they were requesting, but that depends each year upon how many funds are available and how much money is there. Those ranged from stream restoration projects in some of the neighborhoods, doing some work within some of the city park areas that is driven by the citizens who frequent those parks. We've been looking at some of the different schools and organizations that have outreach to the kids and to those neighborhoods. And then the infrastructure grants are from stream restoration projects to permeable pavers and bioretention systems. The applications will be online around mid-February, and for this fiscal year. Previous fiscal years, I believe, are still online, so that way if you are interested, you can still look at it and start to see what different topics and ideas that are out there and start getting your information ready for your applications.
Winter at the Arboretum after the break. Back to the show. The Arboretum may not immediately spring to mind when you think of things to do this time of year. But as Jackie Gallimore explains, there's still lots to see and do in the winter at the Arboretum.
Here in the winter and kind of exploring, thinking about what to look for, something you could look at is the different barks of trees. Some that would be part of Winter Tree ID, so there are a lot of unique tree barks that you can look at. There's also some bulbs that are starting to pop out of the ground, so especially around the visitor center and in the home demonstration garden. There's some little plants starting to grow, which will really come into flower in March. On a warm day like today, you'll see maybe like 50, 100 birds out on the lawn looking for worms or picking berries off of trees. So if you're a birder, it's a good time. Mostly, I think the Arboretum is a pretty peaceful place to come in the winter time because there's not a ton of people here. So you really get the place to yourself in some ways. We have a lot of upcoming events always. You can always check our Facebook page or our website to see what's coming up. But the next one we have is our Founders Lecture Series. And Matthew Clark is going to be speaking about public spaces and placemaking and kind of like building community and open spaces. It's going to be really neat. It's at the Gluck Auditorium, February 15th at 7 p.m. One thing that we do every year is our Glories of the Garden series. So people can enter in their artwork and then we display it in the visitor center. It's all about paintings and photographs of the garden. And so that'll be on display in the visitor center February 12th through March 2nd. In partnership with the Central Kentucky Audubon Society, we have a great backyard bird count coming up. So that's a citizen science project where you work to count all the birds that you see in a certain amount of time. And then we turn that data into Cornell University and scientists can use it. Wednesdays in March, we have a program called Little Sprouts, and it's for ages 3 to 5 and their parents. And it's either at 10 or 11. We have 2 sessions, and it's really fun. We start off by reading a book, and then we do different stations like a craft or planting a seed, and then we usually go on a hike, and it's all about like getting ready to garden or animal friends. So it's a really fun time for preschool aged kids. We have a new free field trip called Trees and Carbon Storage, how you can help reduce the effects of climate change. And it's free through June for 6th through 12th grade. So we give you an activity to do at school where you learn about the carbon cycle, and then you can come here and take a tour, and we take some measurements of how much carbon trees are storing, and then you go back to your classroom and you adopt a tree back at school. So the Kentucky Children's Garden opens for the season March 15th at 10 a.m. So now's a good time to get your season pass because you get the most value out of having it all year round. It's 2 acres, and it's designed for children aged 2 to 10 and their families, and it has a lot of child-sized features. It has a model train, it has raised beds that you can help us plant in on Saturdays, it has a wading stream, and it has a wigwam and a pioneer where you can do like some dramatic play. So it's a really great place to come and just like let your kids play in nature as well as join us for activities throughout the day. Our main trail is a 2-mile loop that goes around the Walk Across Kentucky, which is our largest collection, and the plants that are featured on there are all from the different regions of Kentucky. And then we also have a shorter trail that goes through the home demonstration garden, which is kind of what it sounds like. It shows off the different things you can do in your home garden. And then we also have one more trail that's in the woods. So the woods here are pretty cool because they're a remnant, one of the last remnants of the bluegrass forest. And we have a couple trees back there that are over 200 years old. So we're actively recruiting volunteers. And so the way to get involved with that is for the children's garden, you have to come to a special orientation and do a background check because we work with kids. The first orientation is February 24th from 10 to 12. Entire Arboretum volunteer orientation is March 31st at 9 a.m. And that's if you wanted to do something like work on the Adopt-A-Plot or work with the native plants crew. They go out on the trails and, mulch or pull up weeds, that sort of thing. So this is also the time of year where we're trying to hire our seasonal staff. So over the next month or so, we'll be looking for seasonal staff throughout the Arboretum. And the Kentucky Children's Garden will be hiring interns for the season. So that's UK students that would like to work with us March through October. It's a great opportunity to learn how to teach, learn how to care for plants, and get to work outside for a season. And then we'll also be hiring for Walk Across Kentucky interns as well as a visitor center receptionist / cashier.
Winter is just a little over halfway done, and we've dealt with several snow and ice events. Rob Allen of Streets, Roads, and Forestry fills us in on how to help in the monumental task of keeping roads clear of snow and ice.
You really need to give them what we call room to work.
That's the advice Rob Allen has for drivers around snowplows.
The addition of a plow to a truck can add an additional 12 feet to the length of the vehicle, which creates blind spots to either side. So we ask folks to, be patient, give a buffer to a snowplow, be aware that this is a large vehicle, driving conditions, visibility can be reduced, and they have some blind spots. So be a defensive driver anytime you're around a snowplow. At night, if the plow is in the raised position and we're just salting, the plow actually blocks the headlights, and that's why we have the special lights on top of the plow to help. But you're talking, some reduced visibility and some angles are different, and that's why we tend to go slower. At the very least, 10 miles below the posted speed limit, and certainly it doesn't hurt, for example, if you're passing one, to give a little tap on the horn so the driver's aware that you're there and they're not shifting lanes.
In addition to reduced visibility for plow operators, there are other considerations.
It adds a lot of weight to the vehicle, so the stopping distance, especially if that truck is loaded with salt, you'll notice our vehicle's slowing down a lot further away from red lights or stop signs and things like that, especially in neighborhoods.
Mr. Allen explains that there are other ways to help in snowplow operations, even when you're not on the road.
One of the easiest things to help us is not to park on the street. If I know it's convenient, we do it at our house, especially if you have multiple drivers parking in the street because you're leaving first. But if you can get off-road or off of a snow route onto a neighborhood street even, it really helps those drivers. Certainly there are some videos available as far as how you can clear your driveway and to the left of your driveway so the plow doesn't create a furrow across the front of your driveway apron and kind of block you in. And just generally trying to, if you don't have to be out, don't go out, or wait until daylight hours when, you don't have that reduced visibility factor.
Mr. Allen goes on to tell us what factors go into the decision of where plows operate in the city's snow plan.
There are several factors that go in towards prioritizing the volume of traffic and the size of the road. For example, a major road, which is a major artery both in and out of the city, the facilities located along that road, major employment centers, and then also the transportation network. How does this link into the state road system for transportation in and out of Fayette County and the region as a whole? We try to work through the plan from priority 1 to priority 4, and 4 is usually a neighborhood collector street. So folks need to understand the plan is designed to be completed 24 to 36 hours after the precipitation stops, and that we will work through the ranks. Now sometimes we'll actually start at 4s and work our way back to 1. For example, if we've been able to pre-treat the major roads and we haven't been able to pre-treat neighborhood roads, we'll start in there and work our way out, trying to do our best to make it safe and allow people to have access to everything.
Mr. Allen has these final thoughts on ensuring a safe winter on the roads around snowplows.
Give them room to work. We'll go back to that. Be aware, these trucks are big, they're slow, they may have limited visibility because of weather conditions, and the main objective is safety for everyone. And give them a good buffer, and just take your time to get to where you're going.
City Hall has a very busy week ahead, and that means a full televised meeting schedule, including the General Government and Social Services Committee and the Council work session on Tuesday, and Planning Commission, followed by the regular Council meeting on Thursday. And as always, you can watch these meetings live as well as our other programming right here on Lex TV channel 185 or on our live stream, and find any meeting archived at lexingtonky.gov/LexTV, or find other programming on our YouTube channel at Lex TV. That's all for this edition of Lexington Now. Keep up with us all week long on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And check out the latest traffic updates on Twitter at our handle @LexRex. Or get a bird's eye view with our live traffic cams on the city's website at lexingtonky.gov. For the staff and producers at Lex TV and Sherelle Roberts, I'm Neil Noah, and that's it for now.